Hey YouTube, it's ICU and welcome to the 223rd episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors. Alright, and to start off, I wanted to officially announce my all-new iPhone 6 giveaway, so if you're interested in winning one, be sure to rate this video up and stick around to the end for instructions on how to enter. And with that said, up first, let's talk about the upcoming Apple Watch, which will be available for pre-order April 10th, and it will ship April 24th and be available in stores the same day. So with that said, let's go over some of the top reasons why you might be interested in purchasing one. However, if you listen to all of them and you still don't agree with me, that's completely fine. You might not just fall into the target niche that Apple is going after with the Apple Watch. So up first, the top reason why you might be interested in purchasing one is silent and discreet notifications. Now that's absolutely awesome, and that's kind of what Google was going after with Google Glass a few years ago, trying to essentially take you away from the distraction of constantly having to dig your phone out of your pocket and checking it for all the various notifications you receive throughout the day. And this isn't just specific to the Apple Watch, it does apply to other smart wearables, or smartwatches in this case, being things like the Pebble or even Android Wear devices. Again, it is not specific to just the Apple Watch. I've been using the Pebble Steel smartwatch for about a year now, and I absolutely love the fact that I don't have to check my phone every single time I receive a notification. It simply shows up on my wrist. All I have to do is glance down at the watch itself, and I can determine whether or not I actually want to take my phone out of my pocket and reply or save it for later. So that's really great that a lot of people don't really understand until they actually try a smartwatch for themselves. And it helps you kind of prioritize, at least as far as your notifications are concerned. And the Apple Watch takes it even a step further. You can then reply. It kind of analyzes the messages that you receive to give you some generic responses that you can then tap, or you can use Siri or dictation to actually say exactly what you want to the person. Now, next up, the whole health aspect. That's really big. And even if you're not into health tracking and fitness, there's so many individuals who are. The Apple Watch can do so many different things. During the Spring Forward event, they announced that it can basically track any single workout that you can do inside of a gym, from things like running and cycling to lifting weights. Not to mention the fact that it can accurately determine your heart rate. And if you're interested in that, of course, you can find so many details online, specifically on Apple's website. And now the third reason that I wanted to mention is the App Store. Now, I know that may not sound like much, especially since in today's world, we're so accustomed to the App Store on our iPhone or Google Play on Android devices, but it really is extremely important because remember when the iPhone first launched in 2007, we didn't even have an App Store. It wasn't until later that with the iPhone 3G, the App Store launched. Initially, the iPhone was marketed as basically three things: a telecommunications device, something to browse the web, and a media playback device. That was it. There were no apps at that point in time. And then, of course, when the App Store came along, it basically revolutionized everything for the iPhone, and then the same thing happened with Google Play for Android devices. Now, with the Apple Watch, we're already ahead of where the iPhone was when it first launched because we will have the App Store day one. Developers have been working on creating all sorts of apps for months now, since iOS 8.2 essentially went into beta stages, and we'll have so many different features and functionality that we might not even have considered opened up to us in light of the App Store. And those are just a few points that can justify the purchase of an Apple Watch. There's so many others that I'm not going to go into in this specific video. I'm going to save them for a later point, of course, when I actually get the Apple Watch for myself and I'm able to test it and give you guys a true evaluation of the device. And for anyone who says that it's overpriced, remember, it's really not. It starts at $349, and of course that is definitely less than an iPhone, because even though the iPhone will start at $199 for most people on a 2-year contract, that's on a 2-year contract. The carriers are subsidizing that price, meaning they are paying the difference to Apple themselves. It's usually about $400 and $450. And then from there, they will kind of recoup that cost over the 2-year contract. So keep that in mind. It starts at $349. It can do so many different things. It can even track your heart rate, which I think is pretty cool. And I'm definitely going to use that aspect of it in combination with the fitness tracking all of the time. So for me personally, I can definitely see myself using the Apple Watch, even if it were just to provide discreet and silent notifications and awesome apps. But it is so much more than that. So just be sure to stay tuned for my complete and in-depth review on the device once it launches April 24th. Alright, now next up we have the new MacBook. It was announced during Apple's Spring Forward Media event, and while it is pretty cool from its extremely thin form factor to only weighing 2 pounds, there is a lot to dislike about it, from its 480p camera to the fact that it only has one single USB-C port that's supposed to be used for data transfer as well as charging. And of course, because it is USB-C, you will need something, being an adapter, to convert that USB-C port to whatever you're trying to connect to. But remember, Apple had to make that decision to make it incredibly thin. And while that might not be appealing to some people, it definitely is to others. Remember, this is a niche product. It will mostly be intended for those who simply do web browsing, some light tasks on their computers, as well as things like writing. It's not going to be intended for anyone who's trying to game or do any hardcore video editing. So again, remember that they had to make so many different innovations from only one USB-C port, which to my knowledge is the only laptop that will include USB-C aside from the Google Chromebook, which was announced after the Apple Media event. So that's kind of interesting, but that's a completely different story. But beyond the limitation of a single port, it does have a completely revised trackpad, which is extremely cool. It's also featured on the 13-inch 2015 MacBook Pro, which I did an unboxing of. Essentially, it uses the same taptic engine that is found in the upcoming Apple Watch, and it's able to mimic a real click of a trackpad because it's just a piece of glass with pressure sensors underneath, as well as the taptic engine. Because it doesn't physically move, when you push down on it, the taptic engine activates. It's really cool and it's very awesome tech. And if you want more details on that, I highly recommend checking out my unboxing of the 2015 13-inch MacBook Pro. Of course, it also has other things like the thinnest Retina display ever, as well as a new style of keyboard that's not only thinner, but also more accurate and sturdy. And remember, this isn't going to be a machine that those who purchase it will be connecting peripherals to on a daily basis anyway. The same thing goes for an external display. That's just not the type of computer that it is. In fact, on Apple's website, it even says, quote, fully equipped for a wireless world. And although it might not suit your needs, rest assured it will suit the needs of the millions who will inevitably buy it. The same thing goes for the Apple Watch. Now, next up, let's talk about iOS 8.2, which was also released following the conclusion of the Spring Forward Media event. Apple announced additional details pertaining to both the Apple Watch as well as iOS 8.2 and how the two will work together. And I also made an in-depth review video of iOS 8.2 that goes over all of its features. So if you're wondering what iOS 8.2 brings to the table and whether you should update, be sure to check out that video because it contains some incredibly useful details, especially for those who are prospective jailbreakers. And then a few days later, on Thursday, Apple seeded the third beta iteration of iOS 8.3 to registered developers, as well as pushed out the first public beta of iOS 8.3 to those enrolled in the company's public preview program. And now next, let's talk about jailbreaking. So I have released 2 new jailbreak update videos since iOS 8.2's release. I definitely recommend watching those videos because they contain all of the useful information that you will need. However, I am briefly going to go over the current state of things now. So, as of recording this video, there is not a jailbreak for iOS 8.2. Whether it's from Pangu or TaiG, there just isn't a jailbreak. That's the gist of it, and that's really what you need to know. There is going to be a jailbreak, however, but right now we're uncertain whether it's going to be intended for iOS 8.2 or iOS 8.3. And as mentioned in the second of my 2 most recent jailbreak update videos, there are some rumors going around the web suggesting that the reason why we haven't seen an iOS 8.2 jailbreak from TaiG already is because Apple closed the vulnerabilities that the group was planning on exploiting in their next jailbreak. That cannot be further from the truth. There are several other factors that are in play here, so be sure to watch that video for additional information. Also, MSS 2015, or the Mobile Security Summit, is being held soon in Beijing, China, at which not only the developer that TaiG utilizes, being XN, but also others, namely Pimskex of the Evaders and Comax, will be discussing numerous jailbreak-related topics. They're holding basically keynote presentations and demonstrations. So that's also another really big thing that's going on in the world of jailbreaking right now, at least for the developers on the jailbreak scene, and that's going to be held on the 27th of this month. So we probably won't see anything released before then. However, after then, it's kind of fair play. So we'll see what happens. And with Apple's unknown release timeframe for iOS 8.3, it could very well happen that a jailbreak won't be released until 8.3. So keep all of that in mind. Watch my other 2 jailbreak update videos because I go way into depth on the topic there. there. And if you guys are interested in both the new 2015 MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air, be sure to check out my 2 unboxing videos that I released earlier this week, where I completely unbox and cover the 2 new laptops themselves. And stay tuned, because I might be releasing additional coverage on the 2 machines. Now, next up, a rumor started to go around recently suggesting that the upcoming iPhone 6s and iPhone 6s Plus will feature 2 gigabytes of RAM as well as an Apple SIM, which will definitely help the unlocked, off-contract iPhone 6s and 6s Plus be adapted for multiple carriers. And of course, following that rumor, the other week, the Samsung Galaxy S6 was unveiled, and guess what? It kind of looks like the iPhone 6. So if you guys are interested in that, as well as a complete comparison gallery between the two, be sure to check out the post down below in the more info. All right, and finally, to conclude this episode, let's talk about my all-new iPhone 6 giveaway, which is what I'm sure a lot of my viewers have eagerly been anticipating. So to enter, it's extremely simple. All you have to do is rate this video up and then go to freeappsfast.com inside of mobile Safari on your iOS device, sign up for your account, go through this simple enroll process and tutorial, and then start downloading sponsored apps. For each app you download and earn points for, you will essentially gain 1 entry. From there, simply come back to this video or any of the videos that I post from this one up until the conclusion of the giveaway, and leave a relevant comment down below in the comment section containing your referral code. That's it. That's all you have to do. And then from there, you will be eligible to win an all-new iPhone 6. I really do hope you guys like that giveaway as well as this video. And if you guys want to be updated more often, such as when I release new videos, especially ones covering the upcoming Apple Watch, just be sure to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, add me over your circles inside of Google+, follow me on Instagram at ICUID, and subscribe to my secondary YouTube channel at youtube.com/ICUID. And until next time, this is ICU signing out.